he kept to himself, always behind the wheel. Then one morning, he wore the medal openly. And that's when the whispers began, about the mission no one was supposed to survive. Staff Sergeant First Class, retired, Robert Ghost Martinez had been working as a civilian driver at Naval Special Warfare Training Center in Coronado for exactly 18 months. At 52 years old, with salt and pepper hair beneath his worn baseball cap and weathered hands that gripped the steering wheel with practiced ease, he moved through his transportation duties with the kind of quiet reliability that made him nearly invisible to most. He delivered supplies with methodical precision, transported personnel with professional courtesy, and maintained vehicles with the supportive presence that characterized dedicated civilian contractors. To the SEAL candidates and training staff, he was simply their supply driver, dependable, reserved, and completely unremarkable in his civilian role. What made Robert particularly effective, though few recognized it at the time, was his uncanny ability to navigate complex base operations while maintaining perfect situational awareness. During busy training periods, he could predict vehicle requirements before requests were submitted. During equipment deliveries, he seemed to know which supplies were most urgently needed. During personnel transport, he demonstrated driving skills that exceeded civilian contractor training, handling military vehicles with expertise that suggested extensive experience with tactical transportation under challenging conditions. His personal truck was maintained with precision that exceeded contractor requirements. Every piece of equipment had its designated place, every maintenance task was executed with obsessive attention to detail, and every supply run was completed with thoroughness that impressed even senior facility management personnel. But there were subtle differences that most people overlooked: tactical awareness that seemed natural rather than learned, understanding of military operations that exceeded civilian contractor training, and a personal bearing that seemed to come from experience far beyond transportation duties. The personnel knew him through routine encounters and respectful observation. Morning, Robert, when he delivered supplies to their units. Thank you, Sergeant Martinez, when discussing transportation schedules, or simply a polite nod during busy periods. None of them had questioned his background beyond basic contractor qualifications, though many had noticed he possessed unusually comprehensive knowledge of military procedures and seemed to understand base operations with depth that exceeded typical civilian contractor experience. But the unknown can be revealing, especially when it involves people whose heroic service record remains carefully concealed behind routine transportation assignments. Welcome to Silent Salute, where we uncover the extraordinary stories hiding behind ordinary civilian assignments. Before we dive into this incredible tale, tell us in the comments which country you're watching from today. And if you believe that true heroes often work in the shadows, hit that subscribe button to support our channel. We're honored to share these remarkable stories with you. Naval Special Warfare Training Center in the spring of 2020 was operating under enhanced training protocols designed to prepare candidates for the most challenging operational environments. Home to the most elite naval warrior training programs in the world, the facility required comprehensive logistical support that ensured training effectiveness while maintaining operational security. The transportation and supply requirements were complex, demanding, and absolutely critical for maintaining training readiness while supporting the diverse needs of multiple training programs simultaneously. The daily rhythm at Coronado was carefully coordinated with logistical requirements that balanced training effectiveness with supply chain management. Morning brought equipment deliveries that supported physical conditioning and tactical training exercises. Midday featured personnel transport between training areas and specialized facility locations. Afternoon included supply runs that restocked medical facilities, weapons storage, and specialized training equipment. Evening brought administrative transportation and facility security coordination that ensured all personnel and equipment were properly positioned for the next day's training activities. Through it all, Robert provided transportation services with steady reliability that had characterized his entire tenure at the facility. His driving expertise was universally respected, his logistical coordination was unquestioned, and his ability to handle any transportation challenge that arose impressed military personnel and civilian staff alike. He could navigate complex base operations without disrupting training activities, coordinate supply deliveries during busy operational periods, and transport personnel with efficiency that maintained training schedules while ensuring safety and security. The training staff had formed clear impressions about his role and capabilities. He was exceptional transportation support who ensured their logistical needs were met without compromising training effectiveness. His driving skills were outstanding. His knowledge of base operations was comprehensive, and his ability to coordinate complex transportation requirements during demanding training cycles was remarkable. But he also possessed unusual tactical awareness, often demonstrating familiarity with military operations and security procedures that most civilian contractors wouldn't encounter during routine transportation duties. His interactions with military personnel revealed knowledge that exceeded contractor training. During conversations with security personnel, he demonstrated understanding of base security protocols that suggested more than casual observation. During transportation in sensitive areas, he displayed security consciousness that exceeded what civilian contractors would typically develop. During busy periods when training exercises required vehicle support, he coordinated transportation schedules with operational activities in ways that suggested comprehensive understanding of both security requirements and tactical necessities. Among the personnel stationed at Coronado was Master Chief Petty Officer David Viper Rodriguez, a 28-year SEAL veteran who served as senior enlisted advisor for training operations. Rodriguez was respected throughout the community for his operational experience and logistical expertise, but like most personnel, he viewed civilian contractors as well-meaning support staff who operated outside the warrior culture that defined special operations. "Robert keeps our supply chain running like clockwork," Rodriguez had mentioned to his staff during their weekly logistics briefing. "Best contractor driver we've had in years. He understands how base operations work and coordinates transportation with training requirements better than most military personnel. Guy navigates this facility like he's been doing tactical movements for decades." Rodriguez's observation was more accurate than he realized. Robert's understanding of base operations wasn't learned through contractor service. It was practical knowledge developed through experiences that most civilian contractors never encounter. His familiarity with tactical procedures came from direct participation rather than observation, and his understanding of military logistics reflected operational experience rather than civilian employment. Petty Officer First Class Sarah Hawk Mitchell, who served as supply coordination specialist, offered her perspective on Robert's capabilities. "Some contractors develop that kind of operational understanding through long-term base employment or previous military service. Robert probably has military background or maybe worked as a defense contractor for years. His knowledge of procedures and logistics protocols suggests more than routine civilian experience." But Mitchell's theory couldn't explain the specific type of operational knowledge Robert displayed, the kind that suggested not just military experience, but specialized training in areas that exceeded conventional military service. His understanding of tactical operations, security procedures, and logistical coordination exceeded what support personnel would develop, even through extensive military service or contractor experience. There were details that, in retrospect, should have raised questions about his background. During transportation near classified training areas, he demonstrated security awareness that exceeded civilian contractor protocols. During conversations with senior personnel, he used terminology and references that suggested experience with special operations at operational levels. During observations of training exercises, he provided insights about logistical requirements that suggested hands-on experience with tactical operations rather than transportation support. His driving skills exceeded what most civilian contractors possessed, often handling military vehicles in ways that suggested tactical driving training rather than commercial transportation experience. His situational awareness during base operations exceeded what contractors typically developed, consistently positioning himself to avoid interference with security activities while maintaining transportation readiness. His tactical movement during routine duties suggested training in operational security that exceeded civilian contractor education. Chief Warrant Officer Tom Phantom Williams, a 30-year Special Operations veteran who served as Facility Logistics Officer, had noticed these details more than most. "There's something different about Robert," he'd mentioned to the base operations chief during their monthly briefing. "He moves like someone who's had advanced tactical training, not just military service." His operational awareness and logistics knowledge suggest experience that exceeds civilian contractor background. Williams' assessment identified the key characteristic that distinguished Robert from other contractor personnel. His tactical awareness and operational understanding consistently exceeded what civilian contractor training would provide. His responses to tactical situations suggested experience with operational responsibilities that extended far beyond transportation duties, and his interaction with military personnel reflected knowledge that came from specialized training rather than contractor employment. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Iron Johnson, who served as base operations officer and worked closely with civilian contractors, had also observed Robert's unusual capabilities. Robert understands base operations from a tactical perspective, Johnson had told her commander during their quarterly assessment meeting. His insights about logistical vulnerabilities and his coordination with operational activities suggest he's planned and executed tactical operations, not just supported them through transportation services. Johnson's observation reflected growing recognition among senior personnel that Robert's background exceeded standard civilian contractor qualifications. His tactical knowledge, operational awareness, and logistical understanding suggested experience that extended far beyond transportation services and civilian contractor duties. The daily logistical routine at Coronado had been carefully structured to support training effectiveness while maintaining operational security. The facility operated multiple supply chains, with different transportation requirements based on classification levels and operational sensitivity. Robert had established himself as the gold standard for contractor operational awareness. His ability to provide transportation services while respecting security protocols impressed base leadership and operations personnel alike. He could perform transportation duties in sensitive areas without compromising classified information, coordinate with security forces without disrupting protective measures, and maintain logistical effectiveness without creating security vulnerabilities. His transportation schedule placed him throughout the facility during various operational phases. Early morning hours brought supply deliveries and equipment preparation. Midday handled personnel transport and logistical coordination, and evening included facility operations support and transportation accountability procedures. Robert's interaction with military personnel was professional but carefully controlled. He maintained appropriate respect for security protocols while providing transportation services that were both technically excellent and operationally conscious. Personnel appreciated his driving expertise, operations staff valued his protocol compliance, and senior leadership respected his ability to handle any transportation challenge while maintaining operational security. But he never shared personal stories, never discussed military experience, and never provided insights into the background that had shaped his understanding of base operations. During his 18 months at Coronado, Robert had witnessed countless training exercises, facility operations, and personnel movements. He had provided transportation during preparation for classified training exercises, coordinated with operations staff during complex logistical activities, and supported facility functions during operational activities that required both transportation expertise and security awareness. The incident that would reveal everything occurred during the third week of April 2020, when Coronado was observing National Silver Star Service Banner Day, a commemoration that honored military personnel who had earned the Silver Star for gallantry in action against an enemy of the United States. The observance was planned as a routine ceremony that would honor the courage and sacrifice of personnel who had earned this distinguished military decoration. The ceremony would include formal recognition of the Silver Star's significance and tribute to the valor it represented in military tradition. On the morning of April 21st, Robert arrived for his normal transportation duties, but instead of his usual contractor clothing, he wore his military dress uniform with decorations that included the Silver Star medal prominently displayed on his chest. The sight of Robert in military dress uniform with the Silver Star immediately caught the attention of everyone who saw him. Military personnel who had known him only as a civilian contractor were amazed to discover that he was a decorated combat veteran who had earned one of the nation's most prestigious military decorations. Master Chief Rodriguez was among the first to notice Robert's Silver Star and approached him with obvious respect and curiosity about his military background. "Robert, I had no idea you were a Silver Star recipient," Rodriguez said with newfound respect and admiration. That decoration represents extraordinary gallantry in action. Would you be willing to share something about the action that earned your Silver Star? Robert's response was measured but began to provide insight into combat experience that most civilian contractors never encounter. Master Chief Rodriguez, the action took place during special operations in Afghanistan. My unit encountered a situation that required tactical response beyond standard mission parameters. But Robert's modest explanation didn't satisfy the growing curiosity among personnel who wanted to understand the heroic action that had earned him the Silver Star. His decoration represented valor that exceeded routine military service. Later that morning, Master Chief Rodriguez received authorization to access unclassified portions of Robert's military record that revealed information explaining his Silver Star citation and combat background. The records disclosed that Robert had served as Staff Sergeant First Class Robert Martinez with the 75th Ranger Regiment during multiple combat deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan. His Silver Star was earned during a classified special operations mission that had required extraordinary courage under combat conditions that tested his tactical skills and personal bravery at the highest levels. The citation revealed that Staff Sergeant Martinez had distinguished himself by gallantry in action during a classified rescue mission in Afghanistan. When his unit encountered overwhelming enemy resistance that threatened mission failure and personnel casualties, Staff Sergeant Martinez had voluntarily exposed himself to intense enemy fire to provide tactical coordination that enabled mission success while saving the lives of multiple team members. The unclassified summary indicated that Staff Sergeant Martinez's actions had directly resulted in the successful completion of a classified rescue operation under combat conditions that had been expected to result in total mission failure. His tactical leadership and personal courage had turned certain defeat into mission success, while preventing casualties that would have been devastating to special operations capabilities. Master Chief Rodriguez immediately requested a private meeting with Robert to discuss his Silver Star citation and combat background, understanding that his heroic service represented experience that exceeded most military personnel. Robert, Rodriguez said during their private conversation, learning about your Silver Star citation explains everything we've observed about your tactical awareness and operational understanding. Your combat experience with the Rangers represents service that exceeds most active duty personnel. Robert accepted the opportunity to discuss his military background and the action that had earned his Silver Star. Master Chief Rodriguez, the operation required tactical decisions and personal risk that exceeded standard mission parameters. The situation demanded actions that prioritized mission success and personnel survival over personal safety. Over the following days, more details about Robert's background began to emerge through official channels and conversations with personnel who had clearance to discuss his classified service record. His service with the 75th Ranger Regiment included multiple combat deployments during the most challenging operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. His tactical expertise had contributed to mission success during some of the most dangerous special operations missions, and his leadership under combat conditions had earned recognition that included multiple combat decorations beyond the Silver Star. What we're learning, Master Chief Rodriguez explained to his operations staff during a classified briefing, is that Robert represents combat experience and tactical expertise that exceeds most active duty personnel. His Ranger background and Silver Star citation reflect service under combat conditions that tested tactical abilities at the highest levels. His civilian contractor assignment was his personal choice to continue supporting military operations while maintaining connection to military culture. His decision to work as a transportation contractor reflected his understanding that effective military operations depend on all types of support, and his willingness to contribute through logistics demonstrated dedication that placed service above personal recognition. Upon learning about Robert's true background, base leadership requested his assistance in developing enhanced tactical training scenarios that incorporated lessons learned from his Ranger experience and Silver Star combat action. The operation that earned my Silver Star, Robert explained to the training staff during a special briefing, taught me that effective tactical operations require preparation for situations that exceed standard operational parameters. Combat often requires tactical decisions and personal courage that conventional training doesn't adequately address. His enhanced training scenarios included realistic tactical coordination exercises where candidates had to make decisions under combat stress that prioritized mission success, leadership challenges where tactical effectiveness had to be maintained despite overwhelming odds, and courage development training that prepared personnel for situations where personal risk was required for mission success and team survival. The operations personnel who learned about Robert's Ranger background and Silver Star citation became eager students of his tactical expertise. His combat experience was integrated with their operational knowledge, creating educational opportunities that reflected the complex coordination required for actual special operations under combat conditions. Working with Robert, Master Chief Rodriguez told the operations staff, demonstrates why effective tactical operations require personnel who can integrate combat experience with logistical expertise. His Ranger background and Silver Star citation provide insights into tactical coordination and personal courage that exceed conventional military training. The personnel quickly learned that Robert's combat experience provided insights that enhanced every aspect of tactical operations. His understanding of combat logistics, tactical coordination, and leadership under fire created learning opportunities that exceeded anything available through conventional military training. Master Chief Rodriguez, who had appreciated Robert's contractor reliability, became one of his most respectful admirers. Robert, your Ranger background and Silver Star citation explain everything we observed about your tactical awareness and operational understanding. Your combat experience provides insights into tactical excellence that we could never develop through conventional training. Petty Officer Mitchell, who had theorized about Robert's military background, gained new appreciation for Ranger expertise and Silver Star valor. Staff Sergeant Martinez, your operational knowledge that I attributed to previous military service. Now I understand it came from serving with the most elite Army unit and earning the Silver Star for extraordinary gallantry under fire. Chief Williams, who had suspected there was more to Robert's background, found his instincts confirmed beyond his expectations. Robert, working with you has shown me that the most effective tactical operations are often supported by personnel whose true qualifications and heroic service records remain hidden behind civilian contractor assignments. The enhanced tactical training protocols that Robert developed were eventually adopted throughout Naval Special Warfare Command, establishing new standards for tactical coordination that prepared personnel for combat situations requiring extraordinary courage and tactical innovation. His methods influenced military training worldwide and enhanced the effectiveness of tactical operations under combat conditions. The story of Robert's revealed Silver Star citation became legendary at Coronado, shared with new personnel as an example of how extraordinary combat heroism often serves through assignments that conceal decorated service records behind routine civilian responsibilities. The most important lesson you can learn here, tactical instructors would tell new personnel, is that exceptional combat heroism often comes in unexpected forms. The person driving your supply truck might be someone who's demonstrated gallantry under fire that exceeds anything you'll encounter in conventional military service. Years later, when Robert eventually transitioned to full retirement, his legacy lived on in the enhanced tactical training programs he developed and in the understanding that true combat excellence often requires maintaining humility about heroic service records while continuing to contribute through whatever assignments best serve current operational requirements. His story reminded everyone that at military installations worldwide, the most dangerous assumptions are those made about civilian contractors who seem to fit perfectly into support roles, because the most exceptional combat heroes are often those who choose to continue serving through positions that hide their extraordinary combat accomplishments and decorated service records behind routine logistical responsibilities. Robert's Silver Star citation became synonymous with the understanding that combat heroism represents capabilities that continue contributing to military effectiveness long after official retirement. His example demonstrated that the most effective military installations are often supported by personnel whose heroic service records remain carefully concealed behind civilian contractor assignments. The moment when he had stepped out wearing the Silver Star openly had lasted only minutes, but its impact continued for years, reminding everyone that extraordinary combat heroism often hides behind the most routine assignments. and that the people trusted with logistics responsibilities may be the ones with the most significant combat experience to share about courage under fire when everything was on the line. The sight of the silver star on his chest had demonstrated not just individual recognition, but broader understanding of how combat service creates dedication that transcends official assignments. Robert's willingness to continue serving through civilian contractor positions showed that true combat heroism continues through whatever roles best serve current operational requirements. The enhanced tactical training protocols that emerged from Robert's combat experience created new standards for military preparation that recognized the value of training informed by actual Silver Star combat experience. His methods were studied and implemented across multiple military installations, establishing him as a pioneer in tactical courage education. The personnel who learned from Robert's combat expertise consistently demonstrated superior performance in tactical coordination, courage under pressure, and mission-first decision-making compared to personnel trained under conventional methods. His influence on military training extended far beyond the specific incident that had revealed his decorated service record. Master Chief Rodriguez, who had appreciated Robert's contractor reliability, eventually became a tactical training coordinator himself. Throughout his career, he credited Robert's example with teaching him that combat heroism often requires humility about personal accomplishments and willingness to contribute through whatever assignments best serve military effectiveness. Staff Sergeant Martinez didn't just teach me about tactical operations, Rodriguez would tell his students years later. He taught me that the most valuable tactical assets are often those whose heroic service records remain hidden behind humble support assignments. Petty Officer Mitchell, who had theorized about Robert's military background, also advanced to senior logistics positions. Her experience learning Robert's true background influenced her approach to personnel assessment throughout her career. What I learned from Staff Sergeant Martinez, Mitchell would explain to junior logistics personnel, is that effective military operations depend on understanding that extraordinary combat heroism often comes in unexpected forms. The person in the transportation role might be the one with the most decorated combat experience to share about courage under fire. The ceremony area where Robert had first worn his Silver Star openly became a symbolic reminder that assumptions about civilian contractor backgrounds can overlook combat records that exceed obvious qualifications. New personnel were briefed about the revelation as an example of how extraordinary combat heroism often serves through assignments that maintain operational security about decorated service records. The Silver Star itself became a teaching tool, displayed with permission during tactical training sessions as a reminder that the highest levels of combat courage often continue serving through the most humble assignments, and that true combat heroes are often those who choose to serve without advertisement of their extraordinary accomplishments under fire. This story was brought to you by Silent Salute. Before we leave you today, here's our question. Have you ever discovered that someone you knew in a civilian or contractor capacity actually possessed extraordinary combat decorations that they kept hidden? Have you encountered people whose routine assignments concealed remarkable heroic service records and distinguished military accomplishments? Tell us in the comments about the moments when you realized you'd been working alongside someone whose combat experience and decorations exceeded your own understanding. And if you believe that the most capable combat heroes are often those who don't need to display their medals, hit that subscribe button to support our channel. Every story reminds us that extraordinary combat heroism often hides behind civilian contractor assignments, and that the people we notice least may be the ones with the most significant decorated service to share about courage under fire in the most challenging combat situations. We'll see you in the next story, where we'll discover another incredible tale of hidden combat heroism and unexpected medal recognition.